have to say, this is something that I never thought I'd admit on camera. I'm not trying to hurt anybody by saying this. I'm just talking about how I felt, how I feel. But it was definitely harder for me to leave my job of almost 20 years than it was to leave my marriage. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl, in case you didn't know. Today is not just another Get Ready With Me though. Today is quite personal because I'm actually not only doing a full face of Charlotte Tilbury, as you can see here, I am actually going to take you guys inside the story of how my entire life transformed in just 1 year. Completely transformed. We're talking leaving the job that I poured 20 years of my life into, a little show called Dancing with the Stars, going through a divorce at the same time, and choosing to say goodbye to a home that I purchased with my hard-earned money, a beautiful home that I thought I was going to grow old in. Grab your brushes, maybe a coffee, tea, and let's get ready. This is what I call the drink of water my face is always begging for, Charlotte's Magic Cream. I have never encountered a cream of any sort that doesn't peel under my makeup other than Charlotte Tilbury. You do get a lot for your money. I'm not trying to sell you on something that is so expensive. However, you don't know hydrated skin, folks, until you slather this on your beautiful face. Divine, as Charlotte Tilbury would say. It's gorgeous, darling. As I let this beautiful magic cream marinate into my skin prior to putting on her makeup products, let's rewind. I would say for nearly 2 decades, I was known as Cheryl Burke from Dancing with the Stars. Wouldn't you agree? That wasn't just my job. I said this in my farewell speech with Tyra Banks as I was giving my goodbye speech when I retired a few years ago. It was my whole identity, my security blanket. And if I'm being honest, that was the thing that just made me feel worthy and whole inside. But there comes a point, and maybe you have felt this too, when staying somewhere safe starts to feel scarier than trying something new. Am I staying here because I'm fulfilled or just because it's familiar? That feeling of familiarity is a trap, honestly. Next up is the Hollywood Flawless Filter, and I wanted to show you guys both sizes. This is the travel size. Shade 4.5 is what I normally wear. I'm not as dark because I'm not trying to avoid the sun, and I've been wearing a lot of SPF. I'm going to be getting my nanoblading, my second round, done here in July soon. So this is the regular size, a big difference in price. So if you can get Charlotte Tilbury in travel size and you haven't, you're still kind of like, I don't want to spend that much money, go with the travel size. Makeup expires, and I highly doubt you would even finish this size. So, because I don't use this as a foundation, I use this as a glow for underneath my foundation. If you've ever wanted your face just to look like it has a permanent Instagram filter, folks, this is it, okay? It really just has this gorgeous golden sheen that just softens everything, and it blurs out the rough days, nights, and honestly catches the light in the most flattering way. So I'm going to use both shades. I'm going to go directly in with this doe foot, as you can see. Put the lighter shade, T-zone, just a couple or a few dots. I have combination skin, so sometimes I'm oily, sometimes I'm dry. It just depends on how much water I've drank, which has not been great lately, so we need to fix that. Cheryl Burke. 4.5 on the outside part of my face, where I like to basically put bronzer. It was around the time I left the show that things in my personal life started to also unravel. Great timing, huh? The universe just knows exactly when to pull the trigger sometimes. My marriage was just bluntly ending, and I can say now that we honestly tried, but you know, 2 people can grow, but not always in the same direction, unfortunately. It took me a long time to see that letting go of something that's not working isn't failure. I don't know, all I can say is if any of you guys are feeling stuck in a situation because you're afraid to fail or fall, let this be your permission slip, I guess. Sometimes I've learned that the most loving thing that you can do is actually choose yourself, even if that means walking away. I just wanted to show you how gorgeously glowy I look. Darling. I'm going to be using Charlotte Tilbury's Airbrush Flawless Foundation for the first time here. You're going to be witnessing it. I'm going to be using a damp beauty blender and damp it with her Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Just shake this a little bit. I hear that with this foundation, it does cover redness, which I do get quite often actually. 2 little small pumps. I'm going to take my damp beauty blender. Hopefully my freckles will still seep through. If not, don't worry, I've got a faux freckle pen. I have to say, this is something that I never thought I'd admit on camera. I'm not trying to hurt anybody by saying this. I'm just talking about how I felt, how I feel, but it was definitely harder for me to leave my job of almost 20 years than it was to leave my marriage. This all happened within a year, right? So my divorce, me leaving the show, and selling the house. The home that I was living in, that I bought with my hard-earned money for 16 years in the Hollywood Hills. When it was basically time to pack up and move, it wasn't about separating from him by any means. Basically, it was saying goodbye to a version of me who bought that house as a safe space and place. That was 16 years of my life. That was almost half my life. And it was mine alone. And when it was time to let go, it was honestly about releasing, I guess, who I used to be, not just a shared life, if this makes any sense whatsoever. But here's the foundation so far. I look yellow, but we are going to fix this. I'm not going to go straight in because I am nervous that this is a little on the thicker side, which I think it is. A brush like this. This is Angie Hot and Flashy A505. I'm just going to dot under, like the corner under my eyes, just like right here. I'm going to try to avoid this area altogether because of my fine lines. Literally this much. Just so you know, for anyone who is new to makeup, like I was not too long ago, I guess, whenever you apply product on your brush, you have so much there still. You may just like naturally want to dip back in. Try not to, because especially when it comes to products like concealer, and if you're worried about fine lines and, you know, getting cakey underneath your eyes, I would just use whatever is on or left on your brush, even though it may not feel or look like there's any product, but there is, I promise you. Put a little bit just around my mouth. I'm just gonna be real with you guys. This next chapter of my life so far has not been glamorous. Mind you, it was my decision, but I moved to a brand new city by myself. That was a choice where I knew nobody. I know this much about myself, that healing has to be, for me, done in privacy, because if not, I won't be healing at all. I'll be people pleasing. And that's just my nature. And not everybody's the same. I understand that. Whenever I feel like it, I need to have a safe little space that I'm alone in with my Frenchie, Isabella. I'm going to be taking my favorite, as you can see. This is Charlotte Tilbury's Airbrush Flawless Finish. I have shades 1 along with shade 2, which I haven't really used clearly as much, but they do have these in travel size. Make sure the creases, see, I do have a little creasing happening. You crease, that means there's too much product in that area, which is shocking to me because I thought there was nothing left on the brush. And I'm going to set at least the lids and then a little bit as well where I applied concealer. I had to really dig deep in the silence and learn that being alone wasn't or doesn't mean that you're lonely. There's been countless times in my life where I've been so much more lonelier with actual physical bodies around me than I've ever felt before. Alone does not equal lonely. Remember that. Moving here served its purpose. Not saying that I'm done, but I'm heading towards that direction to where, like, okay, I had to face my own reflection. I had to sit in my own thoughts, sit in the uncomfortable silence. That was the only way that I was able to truly develop into self, into really loving myself and loving what I see in the mirror and being okay in the silence. That's when things started to honestly really change. Those feelings that arise of loneliness, fear, anxiety, that's how the light gets in, because you're feeling it like you have to feel. There's only one way, and that's through. So it's time to bring some color. I might use a little bit of both. I'm going to start with the contour wand, which in the past was always sold out. It's an on and off twisty cap, so make sure you close it when you put it away or store it, because it will just make a hot mess. I'm gonna put one dot. Look at that. There's a lot of dark bronzer. It might be too dark for me, like I said. I'm really just buffing it out on my hand. I'm just gonna bronze the top of my cheekbones, also jawline, as you can see here. But I'm gonna go in with this beautiful Skin Sun Kiss. Look how big this Big Daddy is. And I'm gonna layer that on top. So basically, I have been in therapy my whole life. And I plan on being in therapy for the rest of my life. There's no harm, there's no shame in it. I wish that people would talk about it more. For me, what is best about therapy is, first of all, going when you think you don't need to, and getting a non-biased opinion. If you were to dissect the people around me and my team, the people that I work with, they're not ass kissers, because I've chosen that path, right? Like, it's so much easier to surround yourself with people who constantly compliment you, who constantly tell you maybe not the truth. I've always been like this. I definitely never want that. I never did. And that was one thing that has stayed constant in my life. I prefer the truth, even when it hurts. I'm all about growth. And I don't know if that's just been something I was born with. I don't think so. But as soon as I am not about growth and I'm done being curious or staying curious, that's when I feel like my soul will die, and so will my body, my physical body. So, and basically little by little, the person underneath all of that, the Cheryl Burke from Dancing with the Stars, it started to peek through, and I reintroduced myself to that little girl inside of me that really needed validation. And since she didn't get it from the people that raised her, no hard feelings, I needed to do that for myself. For me, because you're stuck with you for the rest of your life. You better be the best mother to your little person inside you, because that's all we can do. The Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand in the shade Pillow Talk. You're going to start seeing a pattern here, because we're only going to be basically using the shade Pillow Talk and everything. Some color to my face would be great. On my cheekbones, again, just starting on the back of my hand. You can see that I've been collecting a lot of product, but it's okay if they all mix. Such a beautiful, gorgeous color, like a mauve, rosy, deep mauve. It's beautiful. Look at that, so beautiful. Another thing that I've learned too, when it comes to applying makeup, every time you put a new product on your face, you want to let it soak into your face for at least 30 seconds before going into the next product. The good thing about this matte wand from Charlotte Tilbury is that it just never looks glittery or fake, you know? The matte version. It makes you look like you've been living your best life. And who doesn't want to look like that? Put some on the nose, forehead, chin. Pillow Talk wand, highlighting wand in the shade Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk, Pillow Talk, Pillow Talk. Look how gorgeous that is together. Oh, makes me just want to cry. When it comes to highlighter, it's all about lightly going and tapping the product onto the high points of the cheek. It just brings me so much joy. Makeup does lately. I never really thought makeup or putting makeup on was therapeutic, but it definitely is. And especially during this time, this transition period that I've been going through, I've also been trying to figure out what I like, what I don't like, hobbies, passions in life that has nothing to do with ballroom dancing. We have to just keep reinventing ourselves. And slowly, though very slowly, things began to like bloom once I accepted and surrendered into that space of the unknown, because we really don't know. Your glow up doesn't have to be just loud or obvious or obnoxious, really. You know, most of the time, a real true glow up comes from within, and most of the time it's quiet. Unreal Blush Healthy Glow Stick. I got all 4 shades, as I do, so I'm going to be using the Cherry Glow. I do love me a red blush. I've tried this already and it's quite pigmented, though it may not look it. Pour back of my hand. Mix it in a little bit with the Pillow Talk, or what's left of it. A little bit of highlighter. I'm gonna use my beauty blender and we're just gonna slowly, oh, beautiful. You know what, I'm just gonna do this. It says for lips. Oh, I've been really into wearing color lately. I've been told that for a long time, especially on Dancing with the Stars. I used to hate wearing anything colored on my lips. Now, I love it. I've realized that doing my makeup has really opened up my creativity side of myself. Realizing that makeup isn't about hiding. It's not about wearing a mask. It's honestly an act of, for me, it's an act of self-care. When people say, oh, you don't need makeup, I realize that. I know that people are just being nice by saying that, but for me, it's my way of expressing myself lately. Airbrush bronzer in shade 3. This is a matte bronzing filter for face and body. Started just to put my first layer of bronzer on my lid. I totally forgot that I had this. Going in small little circular motions and then just pushing it outwards and upwards. Same bronzer, just to tightline right underneath my bottom lashes. Pillow Talk Glow. This is a powder highlighter form. This is Refer 37. I'm also gonna highlight the inner corners of my eyes. So beautiful. Focus right now on the high points of my cheek, tip of the nose, bridge of the nose, arch of the brow, underneath that brow, a little bit on the cupid's bow. This is a Refer 23 brush. It has a really tiny, this is what I love about this company. They have very tiny tools. Like, rarely do you see that out in the market right now. I mean, there's a couple, right? Like, I know BK Beauty has like 1 or 2 brushes that are very detailed like this. So I'm just putting some on the tear duct, dragging it out towards the base of my nose. Okay, so now I'm gonna start with shadow. It's either gonna be the Dreams Luxury Palette by Charlotte Tilbury or Pillow Talk, which is something I've used before. I used this on my sister for her wedding. I don't know, I might mix and match. Stay tuned. I'll probably start with this shade right here, which is shade number 2. I don't know, summertime, unless you're going out on a date night, maybe if you have time. I don't know, to me, eyeshadow isn't necessary. Now, I'm 41, so I would say maybe I don't have mature, like fully mature skin yet, but I'm heading that direction, as we all are. I have to say that some eyeshadow sticks aren't great for me, but what always I can rely on, always, is this Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette. This comes with me everywhere. I'm gonna do a little bit of this shade of this other palette. This is the Dreams Luxury palette. Just tap it on in. And finally, the lips. Was I gonna use anything other than Pillow Talk? This is Lip Cheat Pillow Talk Fair Pillow Talk lipstick. We also have her lip gloss in Pillow Talk as well. I do love a lip pencil that is an actual pencil versus too creamy. Overlining just a little tiny bit on the cupid's bow and the bottom, but other than that, I'm keeping it within the lines. Look how gorgeous this is. I keep forgetting because she has so many colors. I haven't used this combo in a while. It's a little heart-shaped outfit, so I don't know why. I guess it's a little wider than normal. If there's anything that I've learned from life in general, life after loss is never going to look the way you thought it would, maybe. It can still be beautiful. And this season, it's not perfect. What is perfection? But the one thing that it is mine. For the first time in a long time, I'm living and choosing me. Last step, the Airbrush Flawless Filter Setting Spray. One of my favorites, if not my favorite setting spray of all the brands I've ever tried. There we have it, a full face of Charlotte Tilbury and a full heart straight from mine to yours. If you're going through your own transformation, whatever that may look like, whether it's a breakup, a job change, a move, or just that feeling that you're meant for more, know that you're just not alone. It's a beautiful phase in life, especially when you've chosen to take it. So if anything I shared today may have resonated with you guys, drop me a comment. I want to hear your story as well. Anytime we decide to be vulnerable and share our own experiences and stories, you are helping so many people, including myself, feel like we're not alone. Sending you all so much love and light. Until next time, love you guys. Bye.